Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News today, May 7th, 2025. A lot going on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. A lot going on indeed. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. What do we got? They still haven't chosen a pope there at the Vatican yet as the conclave continues, as we await the new pope. Major arrest. Well, it's not only, and I've heard about this. I did not report on it. It's too dark for even me here at Weaponized News, honestly. But now it's being reported in the mainstream. The 764 network, dark occultist satanic network that was abusing children online. Some of their operatives have been arrested. It's being reported by the DOJ and FBI as part of OperationRestore Justice. And that's going on all over the country, apparently. So we have that reporting to get to. We're still waiting on the Epstein files. The criminal syndicate known as the federal government, in large part, runs the child trafficking in America. Make no mistake about that, as confirmed by Bobby Kennedy Jr. last week, admitting that under the Biden administration, HHS collaborated in child trafficking. So there you go. Right from the source, the government, the crime syndicate. Well, they're trying to clean up the competition, it appears, here now. And hey, if you're saving kids, helping kids, that's good. That's good. But are they going to get sucked up by the government into their trafficking networks? What's going to happen to these abused children? So they made splashy headlines today, and that's all well and good. And they need to go after all of these child predators, no doubt. But again, where's Epstein files? And we know the government, the federal government, along with local and state, are in large part are running the largest trafficking rings in the whole country. So there's that to keep in mind as well as we go over all of this news of busting child predators, which is good, again, very good indeed. What else today? Well, Russia and China, they're best buddies. Again, reiterating it as we continue to report here. There's no limits on their partnership was declared today between Xi and Putin. What else do we got? A little bit of economic news. The Fed is going to leave the interest rates at the same for the discount window. It now looks like there's going to be negotiations on trade between America, Trump, and China. Xi looks like they're scheduled to meet up in Switzerland to sort out this whole trade war, which is good news, I suppose. Maybe your kids can have some dolls for Christmas. Shout out to the Rumble. Let me go check on Rumble, make sure we're still not integrated back to the streaming software, which is frustrating. But I do believe we are, we are streaming live there. Sorry, I can't see your chat on my integration screen. There you are, Karen, Gunther, and Chloe. Shout out to you guys on Rumble. It's just not integrating, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way. Anyway, we are streaming on there, so thank you guys for tuning in. What else do we got today? We're on the edge of potential next nuclear war. Russia or Pakistan and India, things are escalating here now, it seems. Now Pakistan is claiming they shot down 5 Indian jets There's unconfirmed reports on the interwebs that missiles are flying right near the border, within like, I don't know, 15, 20 miles of the border between India and Pakistan. That's not good. That's not good. Let's hope we can stay out of it, man. And we have an instructive video today. How to stop a robot dog. Very instructive as we're going into the scientific dictatorship, technocracy, technate, takeover of our society. We should be learning up on such type things as what happens if a Chinese dog, robot dog, comes after us, or American dog, run by Palantir, of course, run by the Pentagon. What happens if these robot dogs come after you? So we have an instructive video about that. Very good to go over. What can we do under a robot dog attack? Turns out you can do a lot of things, actually. Yeah, Russia-Ukraine peace. Well, there is a ceasefire now in place, and now now Putin and Zelensky are like the Spider-Man meme, pointing the finger. No, you stop firing. No, you stop firing. And it's like, and they're still killing people. A lot of world leaders meeting up today. You had Putin and Maduro of Venezuela meet up. You had Macron of France, and the president, I guess, I don't even know what he is, the non-radical jihadist leader of Syria. He's reformed now, so he met up with Macron in France there. But the big meeting is all Russia and China. They're best buddies again. I don't know how they can get any closer, but they keep reiterating it. So we should know. We should know such things. Yeah, crazy stuff out of Pakistan. What do they say? Pakistan Defense Minister, grave mistake for which it must now pay. Talking about India attacking them, blowing up alleged terrorist training sites, terrorist camps in India. It's Pakistan said it's an act of war. The retaliation there. And then what do we got? We lost another Navy jet, falls into the sea. I'm starting to really think, and I thought about the first time I saw this reported, that they're not being lost at sea, they're being shot down, and we don't want to admit it. But another Navy jet fighter failed to land on the aircraft carrier. An FA-18F Super Hornet jet. Who cares? It's only worth $67 million. Like, what the hell's going on? We'll get to that report. The dreaded Hamas supporters have stormed Columbia Library there in New York at Columbia University. It's horrific, I know. Which is rather daring considering the state of affairs. They may all be rounded up by robot dogs. Hell, who knows? And deported. But that happened. So it does take a little bit of balls in this climate environment to be doing these type of protests under the Trump administration, making America great. Alleged arrest of an Iranian terror cell in London. How many Iranian terror cells are in America? Aardvarkland kind of fell out of the news today, but don't you worry, they're bombing the hell out of Gaza right now. So don't you worry about that. They're bombing the hell out of them. We got, what else do we got? And to wrap up the show, of course, not on YouTube, so you'll have to follow us over to Rumble, Odysee, X, Facebook, all the other platforms except for YouTube. They don't like us playing documentaries there. They say it's third-party content. So we have the UltraZionists, a BBC documentary from 2011. I guess back when you could talk about such things without being called Hamas, by Louis Theroux and director Andy Wells. And so we'll wrap up. It's about an hour-long documentary, and he goes there to Aardvark land, so you can hear it from the Aardvark's own mouth, and they'll still say that you're being anti-Aardvark. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's to wrap up the show. The UltraZionists, the good guys. The good guys. Okay. On this day in history of May 7th, going back to the year 1789, we saw the first U.S. presidential inaugural ball for President George Washington in New York City. And a day that we should all love, and we should all take our miracles, even though it's admitted they don't work and make you worse off. In 1847, the American Medical Association was founded in Philadelphia. And so literally I can't even say it, but yeah, just take your miracles. It's admitted they don't work and makes you worse off, but who cares? Do it. In 1867, on this day, Swedish chemist Alfred Nobel of Nobel Prize, Nobel piece of crap, patents dynamite in England, the first of 3 patents he received for the explosive material. And we've been blowing the hell out of everything ever since. So we do appreciate Alfred Nobel's patent on dynamite. In 1873, U.S. Marines attack Panama. We're the good guys. In 1914, U.S. Congress establishes Mother's Day. See, they actually do have a heart. The Congress does have a heart. Many say they don't, including me, but I guess they did in 1914, the year after they passed the Federal Reserve Act and the individual income tax. So they showed us a heart establishing Mother's Day. Oh, it's this Sunday. Don't forget your mother out there. In 1915, this is significant. The RMS Lusitania is sunk by a German submarine off the southern coast of Ireland with 1,198 lives lost. Allegedly, that's the reason we got into World War I, right? Allegedly. In 1954, U.S., Great Britain, and France reject Russian membership in NATO. So imagine that. Imagine that. Russia, Great Britain, and France could have accepted Russia into NATO, but they didn't want that. They wanted the Cold War. They wanted to have this boogeyman out there that we would have to militarize our societies over the threat of, you see? Where at some level it's very real, at another level it's all fake. It's paradoxical. In 1955, the Western European Union was established, building the pieces for the regions of one world government. In 1960, USSR announces Francis Gary Powers confesses to being a CIA spy. In 1975, U.S. President Gerald Ford declares an end to the Vietnam era. Isn't that good for him? Isn't that good of him? Forget about all the fallout of all the soldiers, American soldiers, and over 1 million dead Vietnamese. Just declare it's over. The end of an era. We can't talk about it anymore. That ties in with this day. In 1984, a $180 million out-of-court settlement is reached in Agent Orange suit And we covered that on the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War, how they're still having ecological damage from Agent Orange and other chemical weapons attacks done upon them by America. So I'd say $180 million, it's a lot of money in 1984, still not enough, right? Still not enough for the damage caused there by America. In 2020, U.S. unemployment claims hit, and Ruckus, if you're out there, 2020 U.S. unemployment claims hit 33.3 million, or 20% of the workforce, versus 2 months prior, unemployment was at 3.5%, a 50-year low. What happened? I don't know. A bat and a pangolin happened, right? No, actually, the government happened. The government happened. They locked everything down and deemed many in the American workforce non-essential. Wasn't that good of them? Of course, all of their criminal activity was 100% essential. But Joe Blow out there, nope. I heard you sneeze, stay home, be unemployed, and add to this 33.3 million. And then they're trying to brush it all under the rug right now. We're just supposed to forget about the last 5 years, what this government did to us. Don't forget. I'm never going to forget. I'm never going to forget. I'm never going to stop talking about, hey, remember that? Remember that time? Remember that? Huh? Yeah. Better remember. They're going to do it again. They're going to do it again. Nobody has faced any repercussions from it. So why wouldn't they do it again? Of course they would. And then in 2021, on this day, the World Health Organization approves the Chinese bat miracle Sinopharm. It's the first made by a non-Western country. What an achievement in science. All right, let's go to the segue here. Here's our segue of No New Pope Yet. Black smoke signals more conclave rounds. After they took their first vote there, there is no new pope.
Romanelli, and just ask them what they'd had for dinner.
We do have
So we
something
have
coming out of
smoke.
that chimney, but it's just
Romanelli.
So the green Vatican there, letting out the smoke. Sorry about that. Letting out the smoke there for the environment, for climate change. No new pope yet. Cash Patel slams Representative Dean, Democrat, over weaponization of FBI. Let's watch this clip. The whole government's weaponized against you, has been for, I don't know, since World War II, since World War I. I don't know. I don't know if I like this format. Let's play this, and then we'll try to get the format back right again.
As you and the president continue to weaponize and investigate his perceived enemies, as you follow this blueprint, when can I, a former impeachment manager, expect the FBI at my door?
Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
you want to know what I'm doing to fix it?
That. Let me move on.
Well, you should read the
topics.
book, because there's no enemies list on that book.
So
there are
you-
people that violated their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people,
That's good. You
and they
gave
were
them due
rightly
process.
called out.
I'm
And
changing
you should
topics.
give that book to every one of your constituents
I'm
so they can
changing
read
topics.
about it.
Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel have announced the rescue of 115 children from the hands of child sex predators. Operation Restore Justice led to the arrest of over 200 child molesters in just 5 days. Among those captured were leaders of the 764 Network, a satanic terror group that targets minors online, coercing them into violent and sexual acts on camera. This smaller arrest may be preparing the public for the arrest of, they keep feeding us the hopium. Oh, you got to prepare. The people just can't take it. Really, the government's running it, as confirmed by Bobby Kennedy Jr. last week. Here's a little clip from that press conference.
Today, we are proud to announce the results of the FBI's Operation Restore Justice initiative. This historic, unprecedented nationwide operation led to the arrest of 205 child sex predators. Unbelievable. In just 5 days. This was an incredible operation done in conjunction with the FBI and our prosecutors. Children and their families now have a chance to heal. These are online predators. Think about this. 115 victims, children. In 5 days, we were able to help.
We're still looking for the 370,000? How many ever illegal alien children? Remember? That the government is collaborated in the trafficking of. Remember that? Yeah. But this is a vicious gang here, allegedly reported. Leaders of the 764 Occult Satanic gang online. According to an affidavit in the District of Columbia, 764 is a network of nihilistic, violent extremists who engage in criminal conduct in the United States and abroad, seeking to destroy civilized society through the corruption and exploitation of vulnerable populations, which often include minors. The 764 network's accelerationist goals include social unrest and the downfall of the current world order, including the United States government. Here a mainstream report about it. This is ABC Channel 4. If we can get our transitions straight here. There we go.
Investigates has learned a national network aimed at exploiting children and creating chaos is operating here in Western Pennsylvania.
It is called 764. It was the subject of an ABC News investigation that aired on Good Morning America. Now, we do want to warn you, some of the images in this story could be troubling to some of you, and there is a brief mention of self-harm. We want to go now to investigative reporter Paul Van Osdal.
The FBI has opened hundreds of investigations into the 764 network around the country, including right here in Pittsburgh. Action News Investigates obtained documents from one local case that led to charges being filed against 20-year-old Aiden Harding of Crescent Township, Allegheny County. This is the Aiden Harding that his lawyer wants the public to see, a young man who loves children and pets and has healthy relationships with friends and family. This is the Aiden that federal prosecutors are investigating, dressed as a Columbine school shooter in front of a Nazi flag. Investigators found Nazi propaganda in his house along with multiple weapons. On his phone, they found this, a symbol of the 764 network and quotes saying, "I sold my soul to 764 and I pledge allegiance to 764.
Today, we're going to get rid of it.
Investigators also found this video, Harding defacing a T-shirt honoring a victim of the Columbine school shootings, then burning it. No one answered the door when Action News Investigates went to Harding's home. Harding's mother and his attorney did not respond to requests for comment. The FBI would not discuss Harding's case, but they had a lot to say about the 764 network. Investigators say the network lures vulnerable young people into online chat rooms and then exploits them.
We've seen them encourage children to engage in animal cruelty, torturing or even killing their pets, or even engaging in violent or sexual behavior with siblings or other people that the kids might know.
He says the network also encourages young people to carve their own skin and make blood markings like this. It's called fan signing.
And they'll have the child carve that into their skin or write it in blood on a piece of paper. And they'll ask the victim to live stream this, which they will then share within their groups.
Allegheny County Police arrested Harding at this gun store in January and charged him with lying on a background check form. During a search of Harding's home, investigators found an iPad with child pornography. That led to the federal charges. Harding has pleaded not guilty. The FBI says parents should monitor their kids' activity on social media and look for these warning signs that they could be involved with the 764 network. A sudden interest in violent material that they're seeing online, an interest in the occult or satanic icons, any evidence of self-harm, which the FBI calls a major red flag. Reporting from outside the FBI on the south side.
That's all well and good, but again, let's not forget, the federal government are the #1 traffickers in all of the world here. Yeah, watch what your kids do online. It's dangerous. There's sickos out there, like the government. But there was sweeps all across the country apparently here now. Operation Restore Justice. We got clips from, these are ones that I did a brief little bit of search to get material for the show today to bring you. Let's go over them. It is significant and looks like they're making an effort at least. Here is the FBI Little Rock office, part 1 of Operation Restore Justice. And remember, Mena, Arkansas famously was a drug trafficking hotspot in the 80s and 90s when Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas, with the famous Barry Seal, amongst others, trafficking cocaine for the government into Arkansas. So let's never forget that, as well as the government are the good guys. I know.
Well, the FBI Little Rock wants Arkansans to know what the FBI is doing across the state to protect children and bring predators to justice. Operation Restore Justice was a DOJ initiative held last week to showcase the FBI's dedication to this mission. April was an important month because it was National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and the FBI conducted a nationwide awareness campaign to bring attention to the threats facing children. Restore Justice punctuated the last week of the month-long emphasis. As part of that nationwide operation here in Arkansas, we arrested 3 predators lurking in our communities and preying on our children. This was just 1 week of work, though. In the last year and a half, we've arrested over 160 predators, conducted over 275 search warrants, resulting in over 180 judicial outcomes and the recovery of countless child victims. The threat landscape is daunting for a variety of reasons. One, we have a lot of predators out there. Nationwide, according to data collected by state sex offender registries and the U.S. Census Bureau, Arkansas has the 2nd highest number of registered sex offenders living in the state. 2, these predators have a nearly infinite hunting ground called the internet. Predatory behavior largely takes place online, on social media accounts, and gaming platforms. And 3, predators are sadly skilled at what they do. They are pros at manipulation, gaining trust, and exploiting vulnerabilities. The FBI has federal investigative authorities in kidnappings, child sex trafficking, and child exploitation matters such as sextortion and the production, distribution, and possession of child sexual abuse material. To strengthen our own capabilities, we work closely with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners and our prosecutorial partners at the United States Attorney's offices in both the Eastern and Western districts of Arkansas.
That's part one. Here's part two from Arkansas.
We have a robust child exploitation, human trafficking task force here in the state, where all those partners come together to leverage investigative authorities, intelligence, and resources to combat these threats. The FBI and our task force can bridge investigations across state lines easily with our other 54 field offices and internationally, if necessary, with our 62 legal attaché offices around the world. While we hunt the predators, we keep the victims at the forefront. To that end, we have an exceptional victim services program and a full-time specialist dedicated solely to ensuring victims have the resources they need and stay connected to the investigative and judicial process. We need the community to be part of the fight with us, to stand with us in this effort. We want to equip parents with information so they then can empower their children with the mindset needed to combat these predators. So what parents can do, get smart on the websites, software, games, and apps your kids are using. Check their accounts, monitor what they're doing, monitor their social media, their posts, and their gaming profiles. And 3, keep the lines of communication open. Explain to them that these threats are very real and they should be skeptical of anything at all that feels off. And I would be remiss if I did not warn parents they should never allow their children to meet up with someone they've met online without explicit permission and supervision. If anyone believes that any child they know is being targeted, victimized, or exploited, report it right away to law enforcement. You can report it directly to the FBI at tips.fbi.gov or call 1-800-CALL-FBI. And last, I would encourage anyone at all, but definitely parents, to look at our website for additional information and resources, www.fbi.gov.
Second highest in the nation in Arkansas, she said, sex offenders? What the hell's going on in Arkansas? But wait, there's more. There's more. New report: an illegal alien convicted of raping a 13-year-old fled to the United States and was found living in a Massachusetts daycare. Biden's open borders let this filth live freely for years. President Trump's policies will hunt down and deport every last predator. That's right from the official White House website. I don't know how I feel about him using this. This is essentially communist propaganda, the same type of style they used for Obama, if you can remember, for this, to illustrate this illegal alien child rapist found at a Massachusetts daycare center. I don't think I particularly like this this image that was created by the White House. Continuing, Buffalo. Let's watch this. Apparently we got a problem in America with child molesters. No audio on this one. Showing the perp walk. They show the guy's face, actually. They don't even show his face. How many did they say? Buffalo, New York, in the last 5 days, 205 child sex abuse offenders were arrested, including 4 arrested by FBI in Buffalo, New York. Every major city here, here's a video with some audio on it. FBI, Cleveland, Ohio, arrested 11 alleged child predators last week as part of Operation Restore Justice.
This is the FBI. We have a warrant. You need to come to the front door with your hands up.
Last week, and coinciding with Child Abuse Prevention Month, FBI Cleveland participated in Operation Restore Justice, a nationwide initiative to surge resources to arrest and charge child sexual abuse offenders. Your Cleveland FBI office identified and arrested 11 offenders who preyed on and victimized vulnerable and innocent children from their homes right here in northern Ohio. But our work is not over. These children are victims. Protecting children from predators is one of our highest priorities. Since the start of 2025, FBI Cleveland identified and arrested 30 individuals for violent crimes against children, and in 2024, we arrested 37 individuals. Make no mistake, if you are engaging in child sexual abuse material, we will identify you, we will find you, and we will bring you to justice.
Oh, but there's more. And it goes on and on. Detroit, Michigan here. The 55 field offices at the FBI, including FBI Detroit, participated in Operation Restore Justice. We've already established that. Across the state of Michigan, 12 subjects were arrested. These subjects were accused of various crimes, including production, distribution, and possession of child sexual abuse material. Oh, but there's more. This is FBI Baltimore.
I'm FBI Baltimore Special Agent in Charge, Bill Del Bagno. Across the country, the FBI surged to arrest child sexual abuse offenders through Operation Restore Justice. FBI Baltimore arrested and federally charged 3 men for their violent crimes against children, 2 in Maryland, 1 in Delaware. This operation highlights efforts the FBI continually makes to confront crimes against children. Every arrest made in these cases not only delivers justice, but also sends a clear message that crimes against children will not be tolerated.
Is there more? We're waiting on the Epstein list. Again. We're waiting. Where the hell are all the over 300,000 illegal alien kids? Again, that Bobby Kennedy Jr. confirmed HHS, the federal government, collaborated in their trafficking. Where are they? Where are the people in government getting arrested? We're waiting. Here's Bondi on, where's the Epstein files?
James Comer said yesterday that all the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm that? They still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
Yeah, we're still waiting. How many people in the Trump administration right now are implicated? All right, that's sad, but needed to be reported. And thankfully, they have saved the children. Let's hope it's legitimate and they just don't send them back into the trafficking network. You know what I mean? Or they don't use this as a tool to recruit them into the trafficking network. I have my doubts about this government. Okay. But all in all, looks like good work. And it goes on. I just showed you what, 4 or 5 cities. It goes on and on and on, like every major U.S. city. So we got a problem here in America with sickos, man, with child molesters. They need to increase the prison sentence. They need to increase the penalties, like big time, like capital punishment. Like if we can 100% prove it in a court of law, obviously, by your jury, then 100%, because I don't trust this corrupt state to carry out the death penalty. But if we can 100% prove it beyond any shadow of a doubt, then they need to get the capital punishment penalty on them for this behavior. And that would cut it way back. So Operation Restore Justice, as we wait for Epstein files, and we wait for what the hell, that bombshell that Bobby Kennedy Jr. dropped on us last week. Like, who at the HHS was involved in this? Where's the arrest of Mayorkas? A bunch of other feds. Where's that big investigation? It's all fine and dandy to get your neighborhood pervert off the internet, but we're talking about institutionalized child trafficking here, organized by the federal government. All right, continuing. But yeah, be careful with your kids online, what they're doing. They could be recruited by these other groups, which I wouldn't be surprised if they're spinoffs of intelligence agencies. The hell they called 764 network. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Will we ever find that out? No, I'm just speculating here. But who do you think's running the intelligence agencies? All right, on to some better news, if you could call it better. I don't know how we feel about this guy, David Perdue. Was he? I think he was a senator. I don't even know. Honestly, I just saw the story come across the Weaponized news desk, so we shall report it. Dave Perdue has been officially sworn in by little Marco Rubio in the Oval Office today to serve as U.S. ambassador to the People's Republic of China. It is a significant position, always, but especially now in the midst of a trade war. And so we do need good relations here with China. And they're partnering up with Russia again, reiterating it once again today that they're the bestest of friends. So that will turn out to be a significant position. It's not like the, ambassador to, I don't friggin' know, Zimbabwe or something. The ambassador to China is kind of a big deal. U.S. farmers, this is from the White House. I don't know if I believe this, but that report we went over yesterday, maybe I do believe it. The U.S. agriculture, big ag, is heavily subsidized by your tax money, the federal government. So this is a claim by the White House. U.S. farmers support President Trump's tariffs. 70% of farmers expect Trump's tariffs to strengthen the agricultural economy. Well, and they do enjoy those subsidies of your tax money, very much so as well. And all that entails, as we went over yesterday, with Coca-Cola, amongst others, dipping into that pot of farm subsidy money from the Farm Bill. So the White House has withdrawn the nomination of the Surgeon General, and now the medical freedom movement wants this guy. I think this guy's pretty good. The Surgeon General there out of Florida, Lapipo. Is that how you say his name? Lapipo? This guy right here. Maybe we can get that guy in there. He's been critical of the miracles. He's critical of the fluoride and other issues. Probably doing as much or more than any other high-ranking man in the health department around the nation, I would have to say, there for Florida. And so maybe we can get him at Attorney General, or I'm sorry, Surgeon General. I think it would be a good move, honestly. Okay, on to the economy here. Federal Reserve holds rates steady as it notes rising uncertainty and stagflation risk. The Federal Reserve held its key interest rate unchanged in a range between 4.25% and 4.5%, where it has been since December. I think we have a video here from old Chairman of the Federal Reserve, Powell. And again, to reiterate, the Federal Reserve is a quasi-governmental agency independent of said federal government, above federal government, according to Alan Greenspan. Okay, people could go look up him saying those almost exact words. And so this is a private central banking cartel that establishes American monetary policy. That's the problem here. That doesn't represent the American people's interest. And as corrupt as our government is, at least our Congress acts like they represent our interests. These guys don't even act like it. And Alan Greenspan said as much. Let's hear now from Chairman Powell.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. Despite heightened uncertainty, the economy is still in a solid position. The unemployment rate remains low, and the labor market is at or near maximum employment. Inflation has come down a great deal, but has been running somewhat above our 2% longer run objective. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged. The risks of higher unemployment and higher inflation appear to have risen, and we believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments.
Well, they failed stable prices and keeping unemployment low. As reported 5 years ago, 2020, we saw 20% unemployment and 50% inflation. So they're a total failure unless that was the point the entire time, because they're not a failure. They're not stupid. And they engineered the whole thing, our economy, to beat the hell out of us. And so that's why we need to end the Federal Reserve and put the issuance of currency and credit back underneath the federal government, the Treasury Department. U.S. pushes nations facing tariffs to approve Musk's Starlink cable show. This is a report out of the Washington Compost. Some countries have turned to the satellite internet firm in conjunction with trade talks. State Department staffers wrote, the U.S. has a strategic interest in countering Chinese internet providers, but Musk's role complicates the picture. So, yeah, a little bit of conflict of interest there. Who cares? They're building Skynet. So don't let a little bit of conflict of interest get in the way for you there. We have a scientific dictatorship prison planet to complete. From the Chinese embassy, maybe your kids can have some dolls for Christmas. I don't know. Based on full consideration of global expectations, China's interest, and the appeals of the U.S. business community and consumers, China has decided to agree to engage with the United States as China's lead on U.S.-Chinese economic and trade affairs. Vice Premier He Liefning will hold talks with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent during his visit to Switzerland May 9th through May 12th. So that is going to happen later this week. Maybe there can be a trade deal. Xi fortifies China's economy before first talks on trade with America, Bloomberg reports. Here's Trump on lowering the tariffs on China.
Says in order to have substantive negotiations, you have to bring down your 145% tariffs. Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
Says in order to
Well, they're at the negotiating table, allegedly. Dollar faces $2.5 trillion avalanche as Asian sales. The dollar may face, this is a report out of Bloomberg, may face a $2.5 trillion avalanche of selling as Asian countries unwind their stockpile of the world's reserve currency. Asian exporters and investors may have amassed an extremely large pile of dollars through the years, widening the region's trade surplus with the U.S. Eurozone, with the U.S. Citing some capital firm, Eurozone SLJ Capitals, Jin and Joan Fiora wrote in a note on Wednesday, as a U.S.-led trade war deepens, some Asian investors might repatriate chunks of funds or ramp up levels of protection against a weakening dollar, potentially triggering an exodus from the world's reserve currency. Might, they say. May and might. All right. Where are we at on time? We're doing okay. On to the tech sector. Everybody loves Zuckerberg. We're censorship free now. They took away the fact checkers on Facebook. And so it's all good. But Zuckerberg's grand vision, most of your friends will be AI. Well, who doesn't want AI friends? Meta's CEO is promoting a future where artificial intelligence is increasingly intertwined with people's lives. Well, he's a bro now. Look at here. Here's his latest picture. His nerd. He's smart. He has his glasses on, and so I want an AI friend. Mark Zuckerberg wants you to have AI friends, an AI therapist, and AI business agents. So doesn't that sound like a wonderful, dystopic, scientific dictatorship, technocratic future for us? The Silicon Valley skeptic warns tech's new bubble is about to burst. Uber veteran Gary Marcus believes the AI revolution is delivering diminishing returns. And so he's warning that there's a major bubble out there in AI and it's about to bust. After an Arizona man was shot, an AI video of him addresses his killer in court. For 2 years, Stacey Wells kept a running list of everything she would say at the sentencing hearing for a man who killed her brother in a road rage incident in Chandler, Arizona. But when she finally sat down to write her statement, Wells was struck. She struggled to find the right words, but one voice was clear, her brother's. I couldn't help but hear his voice inside my head, Wells told NPR. That's when the idea came to her to use artificial intelligence to generate a video of how her late brother, Christopher Pelkey, would address the courtroom, and specifically the man who fatally shot him at a red light in 2021. Let's watch the video. This is interesting.
Hello. Just to be clear for everyone seeing this, I am a version of Chris Pelkey recreated through AI that uses my picture and my voice profile. I was able to be digitally regenerated to share with you today. But here is insight into who I actually was in real life. Take a look.
All right, I'm Chris Pelkey. I served with the United States Army in the infantry. I'm from upstate New York. And what else?
Where'd you deploy?
Where'd I deploy? I went to Baghdad in 2006, 2008, and then I went to Afghanistan in 09 to 10. I think the number one thing is God, is having a relationship with the Lord and being close with Him, and that He really is the only answer to every problem we have, everything we go through. We got to do it with Jesus at our side. Everything else I've tried has failed. And aside from that, just like Jesus says, love God and love people, and being in that community with people where we can lift each other up and support each other and have that community of like-minded brethren, combat veterans, people that believe in the Lord, and, people that are sober and trying to live that good life, so, it's just all about God and all about people. So, as you can see from my video, I recorded in 2021. This here is a true representation of who I was, not how the courtroom portrayed me. So I would like to make my own impact statement. So, hello everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. It means a lot. I can't tell you how humbled I am for those that spoke up for me, everyone who flew in, took off work, those who are watching this remotely, and for everyone who has supported my family and loved ones through 3.5 years and 2 trials. I wish I could be with you all today. To your honor, Judge Lang, thank you for making yourself available to see this case to the end, especially when the rescheduled trial conflicted with your daughter's spring break. Thank you for listening to everyone today. Thank you for reading the flood of impact statements that came in before today that so many people wrote on my behalf. Every single one of them is meaningful and gives a glimpse into my life with each of them. To Gabriel Horcasitas, the man who shot me. It is a shame we encountered each other that day in those circumstances. In another life, we probably could have been friends. I believe in forgiveness and in God who forgives. I always have, and I still do. To my family and everyone that I've met along the way, it was a lot of fun. I always had a lot of fun. Love each other because you never know how long you have. But make the most of each day and live your life. It is okay to stumble. God has you. Remember, getting old is a gift that not everybody has. So embrace it and stop worrying about those wrinkles. I once played with one of those filters on your phone where you can make yourself look old. I shared it with a cousin of ours years ago. This is the best I can ever give you to what I would have looked like if I got the chance to grow old. Scary, huh? No, really. Thank you to everyone for being here. It means more than you know. Well, I'm going to go fishing now. Love you all. See you on the other side.
Tragic story indeed, but I don't see AI generated impact statement as being legitimate, honestly. Is that what he would have really said? Who knows? Who knows? All right, we're almost at the break. Yeah, let's take the break now. And coming back from the break, we're going to get into how do you stop a robot dog video. So you'll want to stick around for that. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers there, holograph stickers. We have the pins on my lapel you can see here. The holograph sticker, the white background, and the clear background. Go to weaponizednews.com. And you can help us out by buying some stickers there. You can give us a donation. You can subscribe as we're broadcasting here now tirelessly, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern Time, tirelessly broadcasting you here, independent reporting and analysis like no one else on the interwebs. Here is the website. You can go to the store there, find the stickers, or simply give us a donation if you feel charitable, secure through PayPal. Now let's go to our sponsor, Abazaba Enterprises.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abazaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abazaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250.
A little bit more before we get to the how to stop a robot dog. A little bit more here about the tech stuff. World's first nuclear-resistant spy robot debuts for protecting U.S. missile silos. Do we believe this? I don't know. Maybe. How's it nuclear-resistant? Let's take a look. According to Bounce Imaging, this system is the only tactical camera approved for nuclear asset protection operations. This technology aims to prevent hostile access to nuclear weapon silos. The system, dubbed the REIS 360 Deep Inspection Camera, is being presented at this week's SOF Week exhibition and positioned as the first of its kind ISR asset certified for deployment in high security, electromagnetically restrictive environments. World's first nuclear resistant camera, developed in direct response to classified vulnerabilities assessment concerning potential unauthorized entry into nuclear storage infrastructure. The REIS 360 system represents a hardened, non-emitting surveillance solution engineered for denied or degraded environments, military embedded systems, MES, reported. I don't know. Wasn't that the name of the guy that came back, Terminator? Isn't that John Connor's dad, Reese? I think it was. What are they trying to tell us here about Skynet? Interesting. Okay, one more story. Of course, we had to mention Palantir and all this. Palantir, we're going to partner with the world's best people, and we're going to dominate. Alex Karp, CEO of Palantir, says. As we reported yesterday, Palantir's CEO and TWG Global Chairman Thomas Tull discussed how their partnership with XAI will revolutionize AI adoption in the financial services industry. Can't wait till they get their hands on your bank account, can you? I know, I'm excited about it too. Everyone is cheating their way through college. The New Yorker reports, New York Magazine. ChatGPT has unraveled the entire academic project. Who could have seen this coming? Hi, Chat. I need your help writing an essay. Who could have seen this coming? So yeah, they're shocking. I know college students are using ChatGPT and other AI writing programs to aid in their college term papers. Who could have seen this coming? I don't know. It seems like they should have some counter AI to scan the papers and say if it was written by a human or a machine. Doesn't that seem likely? I don't know. Are they killing college like that? I don't know. Okay. Here's the important video that we all need to pay attention to. How to stop a robot dog.
Rogue autonomous weapons are caused by misaligned artificial intelligence. They are like ordinary weapons, only many times more powerful. They are highly intelligent and are difficult to outrun. They can navigate complex terrain. They can track and identify targets using thermal imaging and facial recognition. These are the three dangers. Surveillance. They gather valuable intel. Sabotage. They destroy vital infrastructure. Strikes. They can be deadly dangerous. You can protect yourself and your family. Later on, we shall show you what steps to take. To accomplish their objectives, they can be deployed by air using vampire drones. They can be equipped with mobility features like a robotic arm or outfitted with one of these weapon systems: an assault rifle, a sniper rifle, an anti-tank rocket launcher, or a flamethrower. Although they hunt alone, they can also be deployed in a pack for maximum damage. This is called a swarm. A swarm can communicate and coordinate to achieve its objective: killing sentient life. If you are being attacked by quadrupedal autonomous agents, these are the sounds you must recognize. First, if an attack is coming, then you will hear the hum of drones in the sky. They sound like this. Next, their mechanical movements and operating sounds. Although quiet when alone, if a swarm is on the move, they sound like this. You may also hear the swarm communicate, like this. The heat signature of a robot dog is the same as a rabbit's, making them difficult to detect with thermal imaging. But if it is dark, mounted optic lasers or glowing sensors can be seen with the naked eye. If you make visual contact with a robot dog in your neighborhood, please alert the authorities. Anytime robot dogs are identified, warnings of the attack will be broadcast through a text message warning and sound. When you hear any of these sounds, you and your family must take action at once. Do not stay out of doors. If you are caught out in the open, remember the acronym: race cars travel fast. Run, cover, trap, fight. If running is possible, always choose this option first. Remember to stay low. Break visual contact with cameras or sensors and maintain your distance until you reach cover. When looking for cover, remember the acronym: stop my hat, thanks. Staircases, moving surfaces, holes, and thin places. Staircases or ramps can be difficult to climb. Stack various objects on them to make it even more difficult. If the robot dog does not come with an arm, use elevators. If it does, avoid them. If possible, climb down holes with ropes or ladders. Lastly, create hard-to-follow paths by using tall, thin beams, like spanning the gap in a stairwell. A robot dog's leg width is 500 millimeters. Look for objects with a width of at most 400 millimeters. If you are caught out in the open during a robot dog raid, find a safe house closest to you and barricade yourself inside. Once secured, you might be shut in there for days. But the world goes on, and deadlines are looming. But you're away from your desk with no options except to risk your neck. If only you had access to your computer with all your project files. With any desk, you can get back to work, no matter what situation you find yourself in. It lets you gain access to your devices remotely from anywhere, and does it seamlessly. With lightning-fast connectivity and fast upload and download speeds, you'll be able to move around large files without problems. Its simple interface means even your mother-in-law could use it. What sets AnyDesk apart is their extreme commitment to security, ensuring that you stay safe no matter what. You'll never feel like you're falling behind on projects again. Visit hoog.best/AnyDesk1 and try it for free. If you have created ample distance and have found cover, good job. See if the threat will pass. If it does not pass, you must trap it. Now is the time to use your anti-QRA survival pack. This mobile toolkit contains tools to help you trap, confuse, and evade your attacker. We will show you how to construct one. Never leave the house without some or all of these items. A balaclava and sunglasses to avoid targeted attacks through facial recognition. Flares to give off a bright heat signature that confuses thermal imaging. A small powder-based fire extinguisher to create a dust cloud that can cover sensors and create a smoke screen. A high-powered LED light or laser to confuse camera and LiDAR sensors. A paintball gun or water balloons filled with paint to blind them. A sturdy rope throwing net to entangle its limbs. Or a strong fishing magnet with a rope to snap to the dog's body and tie it down. Although effective, these tools are not guaranteed to work. If you still cannot shake it off, use these distractions to make it to your primary safe zone. They will likely follow you there. A safe zone is a location within your neighborhood or immediate surroundings that you are familiar with. If possible, it contains access to fresh water and has amenable food stores inside or around the vicinity. It is important to note, no place is safer than any other. The risk is as great in the countryside as in the city. Although you might panic and try to move, we advise against this. You are just as safe in your home as anywhere else. No one will know where the safest place will be. In fact, you are far better off at home because it is the place you know and where you are known. If you move, there is no guarantee others will open their doors for you. I repeat, you are better off in your own home. During an attack, however, turn off heat sources like camp stoves and extinguish small cook fires. If you live in a house, a bungalow, or prefab, the safest place is the basement. If you do not have a basement, choose to stay in a room far away from the roof, outside walls, doors, and windows. Dogs armed with rocket launchers, flamethrowers, or assault rifles may be able to penetrate these, especially if they are working together in a swarm. To make sure that they do not get inside, however, we suggest building some or all of these anti-QRA booby traps and obstacles around your safe zone. Slippery surfaces. It has difficulty walking and may fall on slippery surfaces. Smooth materials like metal roofing sheets or plywood covered with a plastic tarp will work for this. Erect these at an angle, facing away from your safe zone, around major entry points. Make them slippery by using lubricants, oils, fats, or grease. Even sand or dust can work for this. Cords. It cannot detect cords until it's too late. Place these strategically around your safe zone in a loose nest to entangle limbs or tied between two stakes as a tripwire. Short, unstable objects. It may not automatically avoid unstable objects that are less than 30 centimeters above the ground and may fall by stepping on such objects. Fill the perimeter of your hideout with plenty of trip hazards like sticks, wires, and other trash. Mirrors. Transparent, mirrored, or very bright surfaces can confuse its camera and LiDAR sensors. Place these around entryways to hide them. Moving surfaces. Moving surfaces such as escalators, walkways, vehicles, and boats can disrupt its walking system. Moats or pits. If your safe zone allows you to dig a deep moat or pit around it, do so. Ensure the walls are straight, at least 2 meters deep, and over 1 meter wide. They can jump up to 1.5 times its body length. A chain link fence. Although it could be cut, melted or blown up, a chain link fence could slow down a swarm considerably. If none of these deterrents have worked, you cannot escape and are in immediate danger, move to the final step. Fighting it should be an absolute last resort. If you do not have a gun, get behind it, then quickly grab the handle underneath and yank it forward to disable the battery. Exercise utmost caution. Keep your hands away from the joints. They will crush your fingers if you are not careful. Alternatively, find the motor lockout button located behind the robot and press it. This will physically disconnect the motors, rendering the robot inactive. If you are unable to get that close, grab a long, blunt object like a sledgehammer and wish yourself luck. If you have access to a gun, aim for its battery pack. Do this with caution. If ion batteries are pierced, they can start a self-oxidizing fire that is very hard to extinguish. As the battery packs on military-grade QRAs are armored, this may not always work. In this case, target its other weak spots, including sensors, joints, and motors. However, the likelihood of having to fight a robot dog can be greatly reduced by choosing your hideout location carefully. Stay hidden. Avoid movement during peak patrol periods. If you have followed all of the steps in this video, you could manage to survive for a long period of time. Remember, when robot...
We may be seeing these robot dog patrols in the very near future. All right. Informative. That was, I saw that posted on Odysee channel, stopthecrime.net, Odysee channel, to give them credit for posting that. Okay. On to our geopolitical news. Let me check in on the old Rumble. There's quite a chat going on Rumble. I feel very sad because I don't see it over here. I have to actually go to the Rumble channel. EMP bullets. Denver says. Do they make such a thing as EMP bullets? We need them yesterday. I don't think they make them. But if you do set off an EMP, it's going to knock out all of your electronics as well. It's going to knock out everything in that area, wouldn't it? Yeah, so something to keep in mind, and we'll develop more survival strategies as we progress here in technocracy. I'm sure that there's a good starting point, at least some helpful tips to think about when the robot dogs are patrolling your neighborhood. All right, on to the geopolitical news. Russia's UN envoy says, let's not forget Hitler had sympathizers, even the royal family. Nah, not them. Not the royal family.
Популярность или пришли к власти во многих странах Европы. Поэтому шествие Гитлера было практически триумфальным до тех пор, пока оно не столкнулось с героическим сопротивлением народов Советского Союза. Нельзя забывать о том, что Гитлер пользовался симпатиями и поддержкой ряда членов королевской семьи Великобритании. На стороне Гитлера воевали Италия, Финляндия и Румыния, предоставившие в его распоряжение 700 тысяч солдат.
That's pretty funny at the UN, actually. Sir Trump, there was no major factor like us. Trump announces the May 8th, that May 8th, will be recognized as Victory Day in the United States, similar to the one in Russia and other nations to commemorate and to celebrate U.S. triumph over Nazism. But wait a minute, we're actually funding it in Ukraine. Shocking, I know. Trump on the state of Russia-Ukraine talks. They're allegedly in the middle of a ceasefire. I think we'll get to that. Let's hear this short clip from Trump.
Russia was asking for too much to end the war. Given that, do you still have confidence that...
When did he say that?
Earlier this morning.
Well, it's possible that he's right. He may know some things that, because I've been dealing with this and some other things, but we are getting to a point where some decisions are going to have to be made. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. Okay.
You can't say we're celebrating the triumph over Nazism and then continue to fund and arm Nazis in Ukraine. See how that's like hypocritical? Here's the moderate, reformed, radical jihadist leader of Syria, de facto leader of Syria, al-Shara, meeting up with old Macron, Rothschild banker there in France. Isn't this interesting? So he's a reformed radical jihadist terrorist. Looks like a Western intelligence agent to me, just saying. Here's the meeting. Here's the meeting of the most evil man in the world, Putin, and the second most evil man in the world, Nicolas Maduro. Oh no, we're supposed to be nice to him. He's still a communist, allegedly, right? Pretty tall. Is Putin short or is he tall? I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. Look, he's a good 6-8 inches taller, and he's like has his head down there a little bit. This guy's tall. Maduro out of Venezuela there. So a lot of world leaders meeting up today, and then of course the big one, Xi Jinping out of China, arrived in Moscow for a state visit to Russia. This marks his 11th visit to Russia since becoming Chinese president. They're the best of friends again, we report here to you again. They reiterate it, so they want the world to know. Here is a short clip, a warm welcome chanted by Moscow crowds waving Chinese flags lining the streets upon Xi's arrival. They did the same thing here in California for him. I remember it, and cleaned up the streets of San Francisco. Remember that? China's Xi aims to beef up no-limits Putin partnership. Moscow and Beijing declared have ominously vowed to shape global governance in the right direction. Isn't this good of them? We appreciate that. Claiming they will stomp out bullying on the world stage. And so it's very good of them to help shape our global governance. Moscow and Beijing declared a no-limits partnership weeks before Putin ordered Russia's Ukraine offensive in February 2022. And they've reiterated it once again. Again. Let's go to, we had a couple reports from Simon. Let me, well, here's the newspaper. President Xi's article, Learning from History to Build Together a Brighter Future, from Russian Gazette. Here is the headline. Obviously, we can't read it. It's written in Cyrillic in Russian, But we did get a little translation from Simon, via Simon. Let's see if I can pull that up. I should have had it ready. Apologies. I think we have it right here. Here's two. "80 years later today, however, unilateralism, hegemonism, bullying, and coercive practices are severely undermining our world. Again, humankind has come to a crossroads of unity or division, dialogue or confrontation, win-win cooperation, or zero-sum games." More from this. Simon doing the translation for us. "We must leverage the certainty and resilience of our partnership of strategic coordination to jointly accelerate the shift towards a multipolar world and build a community with a shared future for mankind." They do stay on message and stay on point. You got to give them that. We've been reporting on the continuing narrative put out by Russia and China for the last year and a half here now, almost 2 years. And shared future is a key phrase that they continue to use, and multipolar world, obviously. So, yeah, best of friends again. Okay, so the ceasefire there in Russia-Ukraine war. Putin's proposed Victory Day truce has begun from midnight May 7th until May 8th, till midnight, or excuse me, from midnight May 7th into 8 till midnight May 10th into 11th. Zelensky yet to confirm he'll honor it. Russia will cease fire, but any Ukrainian attack will be met with a response, Putin said. Zelensky now says it's Putin not answering Ukraine's 30-day ceasefire demand, as if Russia didn't offer 3-day truce over Victory Day celebrations. And we're seeing fallout, blocking of the Victory Day, quote, Victory Day celebration by Russia. Ukraine considers euro over dollar. Central bank governor Andrei Pushne says, according to Reuters, amid growing ties to Europe and greater vulnerability in global markets, think Ukraine would be making the right choice. I don't know. Yeah. Jump on the euro there. Let them pay for everything, your entire government and your retirements and essentially your entire economy. So yeah, line up with the euro there. Will there be a ceasefire? I guess we have to track it here a little bit and see who allegedly fires. We know they're firing at each other in India, Pakistan. Let's hear Trump's take on that today. Hopefully we don't get involved. It doesn't sound like Trump wants to get America involved.
In Pakistan, what's your position?
Oh, it's so terrible. My position is I get along with both. I know both very well, and I want to see them work it out. I want to see them stop. And hopefully they can stop now. They've gone tit for tat. So hopefully they can stop now. But I know both. We get along with both the countries very well. Good relationships with both, and I want to see it stop. And if I can do anything to help, I will be there.
Stay the hell out of it, man. Those who deny Soviets' role in defeating Nazism are trying to rebuild Nazism, Russian Foreign Minister spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said today. I know that Simon particularly liked her. Okay, Pakistan's prime minister, and this is developing, I'm sure more is developing as we're on air and as I was preparing for the show. I don't have the latest, but as of a few hours ago, this is Pakistan's Prime Minister Sharif, says India made grave mistake for which it must now pay. Talking about attacking there in Pakistan, alleged terrorist training camps. And the Pakistan Prime Minister's alleging that Pakistan shot down 5 now Indian jets. Let's hear from him. It is translated in the subtitles.
भारत ने जारियत करके जो फाश गलती की उसका खमियाजा अब उसे ज़रूर भुगतना होगा। शायद वो समझ बैठे थे कि हम पीछे हट जाएंगे, लेकिन वो ये बात भूल गए कि ये अल्लाह ताला के फजल व करम से बहादुरों की कौम है जो अपने अज़्म में फुलादी है, जिसके सपूतों ने खुद को मैदान जंग से निखारा है, जो अपने वतन की इज्जत और हिफाजत के लिए खून के आखिरी कतरे तक लड़ने के लिए
U.S. State Department warned citizens to avoid travel to Juma and Kashmir. Says there's potential for flight disruptions across India in the wake of Operation Sindoor. Be aware, Americans out there. Are you planning to travel to India or Pakistan anytime soon? Be aware they're shooting missiles at each other. India-Pakistan, live updates from NBC. Pakistan vows retaliation after Indian airstrike. The latest we got out of these guys, for whatever it's worth, NBC, we already covered this yesterday. Yep, we covered that. So do we need to reiterate it? India launched missiles at neighbor and rival Pakistan Wednesday. I guess that was their time, dramatically escalating tensions between the nuclear powers in what Pakistan called an act of war. Pakistan armed forces have been authorized to take corresponding actions following the strikes. The strike took place 2 weeks after a terrorist attack killed 26 people, most of them tourists, in the Indian part of Kashmir. Pakistan said 31 people were killed and 57 others were injured in a strike on 6 sites, as well as firing along the line of control that divides the India and Pakistan controlled areas of Kashmir. India said it hit 9 locations across the Pakistani province of Punjab and in Pakistan administrated Kashmir. No talk here in this NBC report about the Indian jet fighters claimed to be shot down by Pakistan. India fires missiles on Pakistan. Islamabad calls it an act of war. AP reports. India and Pakistan are on the brink of a wider conflict, CNN says. Yeah. CNN did actually report that Pakistan has claimed it shot down 5 Indian Air Force jets. India preps for possible retaliation after hitting Pakistan with missile strike as Kashmir tension soars. Here's an image of a hole in the roof of alleged missile strike. Let's hope that thing doesn't crank up and we don't get involved. What the hell's going on with our fighter jets falling into the ocean? Are they really falling into the ocean? Are we believing this? I'm thinking that they're getting shot down and we don't want to admit it. Another Navy jet falls into the sea, marking the fourth major mishap in months, the Washington Compost reports. Let's take a look at this. What the hell is going on here? A Navy fighter jet failed to land on an aircraft carrier and plummeted into the Red Sea yesterday, marking the fourth major mishap involving the vessel and the third lost fighter jet deployed with it since the warship left home last year. The FA-18F Super Hornet jet, worth $67 million, went overboard after an unsuccessful attempt to slow it down upon landing on the USS Harry S. Truman, the Navy said in a statement. Both aviators aboard the jet safely ejected and were rescued at sea by helicopter with minor injuries, and no one aboard the warship's fighting deck was harmed, the service said. The Pentagon spokesman said in a statement late yesterday that the Defense Department is monitoring the situation and the jet was not struck by Houthis, a militant group, blah, blah, blah. We know that, who the Houthis are. An investigation is underway and more information will be disclosed when the cause of the accident is identified. Wait and see here. I don't know. Our $67 million jet fighter planes keep falling in the ocean off of aircraft carrier. What the F is going on, man? Can we believe any of this? Something's going on. That's a story to follow. Masked anti-aardvark protesters storm Columbia Library, shove past security as Ivy Leaguers prep for finals. And I think we do have some video of this. Bold, indeed, protest at Columbia University there in New York. Is this beneficial to the cause? I don't know. I don't think so, honestly, at this point. Are these undercover aardvarks to make the cause look worse than it's already been demonized all over America here by our Mockingbird media? I don't know. But I don't understand what they hope to achieve by interrupting students at Columbia University studying for finals, protesting the aardvark genocide. Like, those students don't really have anything to do with it, do they? And wearing the kahif or whatever it's called, it's not a good look, man, honestly. So maybe they'll get a Department of Homeland Security raid at their home sooner than later. I don't know. They're hiding their identities, obviously. So that went on today. Arrest raids in Britain. Iranian terror cell planned attack on aardvark embassy in London. It's being reported here now out of Ynet News. 4 days after the raids, in which 8 suspects, including 7 Iranians, were arrested, the Telegraph reported that the target was the aardvark embassy in London. Terrorists were captured hours before they were to carry out the attacks, almost as if they were working with UK intelligence, dare I say. I added that, not part of this report, but coincidentally enough, they stopped them right before they were able to attack. Once again, saving the day. What would we do without a militarized police state to keep us safe from the crisis and terrorists and radicals that the same militarized police state creates? What would we do without them? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying here? And so I do believe there are radicalized jihadist terrorist cells. But who's radicalizing them? You see? Who's radicalizing them? UK intelligence, dare I say? Okay, continuing. Vance, I think we reported on this before, but we'll reiterate it again, as we don't want a war with Iran. Vice President J.D. Vance, who wears the black eyeliner for some reason, I guess he's goth. I truly don't understand that look, but that's a side note. Vance, Iran can have civilian nuclear power program. It's good of them, huh? Good of America to allow them to have power. U.S. Vice President says nuclear power program is fine as long as there is not enrichment capabilities that can lead to atomic weapons. So isn't that good of America to go ahead and allow Iran to have a civilian nuclear program? Continuing here. Here's again, we reported it yesterday. Apparently, America's done bombing Yemen and the Houthis there. We honor their word, Trump says, on the Houthi deal. Let's hear from old Orange Man.
You know, we had a very good outcome with the Houthis, and we honor their word. I mean, they made a commitment, and we dealt with other countries that were close to them and their surrogates, and we honor all of their words. We'll see what happens, but I think, you know, I believe that hopefully that's over with, and they'll leave the ships alone, you know, just leave those ships alone. But so we do. We take their word for it. It was, you know, we hit them very hard. They had a great capacity to withstand punishment. They took tremendous punishment. And, you know, you could say there's a lot of bravery there. That it was amazing what they took. But we honor their commitment and their word. They gave us their word that they wouldn't be shooting ships anymore, and we honor that.
We shall see. Workers are already clearing rubble to rebuild the Sana'a airport in Yemen that the aardvarks blew up yesterday. Let's take a look at some of the aftermath of the. America said we stop bombing you. Aardvark said we start bombing you. You get it? They pretty much leveled the place. But what is the tower was still there. And what is an airport anyway? Just you got to land your plane there, right? You need a strip of concrete to land on, and maybe some guidance from the tower there. But they did blow up. They blew up quite a bit, actually, from what we could see on that footage. But they're rebuilding it again. It's been destroyed 3 times before, so they're kind of used to it. And Trump kind of gave them a little bit of props there. You know what I mean? So we shall see. But don't you worry, aardvarks are continuing the genocide. They're bombing the hell out of Gaza today, probably as we speak. You know what I'm saying? Trump, there's a lot to talk about. Gaza, you'll know more in the next 24 hours. So we're going to see some developments. Several wounded in 2 separate West Bank attacks. Manhunt underway. Vance says U.S.-Iran nuke talks on the right path. 1 killed, 10 wounded as boat capsizes near Eilat. Aardvark settlers reportedly torch farmhouse near Ramallah, and that's We're going to see a documentary about that at the end of the show, about these settlers. Bibby says 21 hostages are definitely alive, but there is doubt about 3 others. They already said they don't care about the hostages. We continue to report about that. Aardvark Times reports U.S. pressuring humanitarian groups to get behind Aardvark aid plan for Gaza. That's pretty laughable. Trump administration is indicating to organizations such as the World Food Program that their U.S. funding could be slashed if they don't take part in an initiative that is opposed by the UN. Remember, the siege there is going on using starvation as a weapon. They're blocking all food, water, medicine, electricity, claiming that Hamas will seize these items and use them for terrorism. Houthis had said, stop the siege, stop the genocide, and we'll stop shooting rockets at your ships. They kind of always leave that part out in many reports that we see. But we need that context to understand what's happening, don't you think? I think so. It's just these crazy Houthis shooting rockets at those ships. You know what I mean? No, there's a very definite reason why they are doing this. Not just for pure Aardvark hate. Continuing. Reuters reports UAE mediating secret talks between Aardvark land and Syria. Yeah, it's looking more and more like this guy right here is a Western intelligence agent to me. Just saying. The reformed radical jihadist leader of de facto leader of Syria now. I just can't shake that sneaking suspicion that is indeed going on as Aardvark land continues to bomb southern Syria. All in efforts as part of the larger real estate redevelopment plan there known as the Greater Aardvark Land Project. They're taking all that land, as we've continued to report from the beginning of the latest effort in such regards in West Asia. All right, friends, that's all we have for today on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. Let me go to the chat there. I really miss seeing the chat in my feed over here, so I can integrate it to the show and respond to your guys' lovely and very informative comments. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble. Chloe, Denver. Denver said 80% of the combat deaths are via drone in the Ukraine. We're there, right? They're using that to train up. They're using Gaza. They're using Ukraine to train up the scientific dictatorship war machine. It should be more than obvious to everyone at this point. Yeah, somebody needs EMP bullets. Yeah, maybe we can get Denver on. Karen said, when are you going to co-host a show with Sam? And Denver says he's doing a show tomorrow with his buddy Kevin Sandblom. We're inviting me to be the second mic for the day. Well, good for you, Denver. It's a climate news program tied to Black Bear News. All right. Yeah, maybe we can have Denver on. If you're interested in coming on, Denver, and you're still listening, message me on the X or email me, sam@weaponizednews, and we can set it up. I'd be happy to have you come on and grab the mic on Weaponized News. Oh, he just replied. Said I'd be happy to come on. Well, contact me. We'll line up a day. You know the time, same time. We'll line up the day. Hell yeah, he said. Hell yeah. All right, friends. Thank you for keeping the Rumble chat live. Again, I'm going to try to integrate it back in because it's a pain when I can't see it. And you guys have such insightful comments. I would like to share it on the screen, but I just don't have the capability right now, as I continue to mention. But that's on my back end production problem. So anyway, I just want to let you know that's what's going on, why I'm not sharing your thoughtful comments on the screen here from Rumble. But again, I do appreciate tuning in on Rumble and keeping the chat live. Thank you, everyone there. Let's go to the old Odysee. Let's see what's happening on Odysee. Who's over there? A few people. John. Shout out to you, John. And Ashkenazi Hater. I don't know about that name, but when they say Aardvark has bombed a humanitarian flotilla. Yeah, we reported on that. We did report on that a few days ago, actually. I think it was via Abby Martin was where I first saw that reporting. So we did indeed report on that. Yeah, they're carrying out ethnic cleansing, genocide, murder of men, women, children, civilians. They're clearing that land, and they declared they're seizing all the land there, as we knew they would. But let me tell you, they care about the hostages. It's so painful to fight through these idiot narratives that if people would just do a little bit of research, they would have no weight at all. But the large majority of America and the Western world, apparently, well, maybe not the Western world, but America especially, are brainwashed zombie slaves. And so that's what we're up against. And the whole Christian Zionist brainwashing as well from your Christians here in America that are 100% pro-Aardvark land and genocide at this point. You would think at some point in time they would question, but they're God's chosen people according to the fake Scofield Bible. And so it would be blasphemous to question the Zionists there, the Zionist entity, as it's called. Thank you for tuning in on the Odysee. We appreciate it. The YouTube. Thank you for tuning in on the YouTube. For those on the YouTube, the X, the Facebook, the Rockfin, and the Twitch. All right, friends, we're going to sign off of YouTube now and play this hour-long documentary, The UltraZionists. It's a BBC mainstream from British state-run media back from 2011. Lewis Thorax, hope I'm saying his name right. Director Andy Wells, BBC again. And so, as always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Wednesday evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Thursday for more Weaponized.